Good morning, students. Today we are going to take up one lesson in physics. The lesson is reflection and the refraction of light. Now, what is light? We all know that it is a form of energy. What form of energy? It is that form of energy that produces sensation in human eyes. Does that mean we can see light? The answer is no. There is a lot of light between the camera and myself and the board. But you can neither see the light between the camera and me or between me and the board. There will be a lot of light between your phone screens and you. And you will not be able to see that light. And therefore, we say that light itself cannot be seen. Then what can be seen? To understand that, let us start playing with our ball, maybe a tennis ball. Take a tennis ball, throw it onto a wall. What will happen? It will hit the wall and bounce back, come back towards you. Same thing happens when light or a ray of light strikes an object. It strikes the object and bounces back. This phenomena of the light ray bouncing back after it hits a surface is called the reflection of light. And our eye can see the surface from which the rays of light have bounced back. That means the light from this bulb strikes the board, gets reflected, enters your eye, and now you can see the board. Remember, you will not be able to see the light. Same way, the light hits me, bounces back, enters your eyes, you can see me. You can't see the light. Now, because there is a bounce back phenomena, does it bounce haphazardly or does it follow laws? Yes, this bouncing back phenomena or the phenomena of reflection of light is bound by a law, and we call it the law of reflection. To understand that law, let us take the help of a plane mirror. What do we mean by plane mirror? The mirror which we usually use in our day-to-day activities, like combing our hair, or brushing our teeth, or washing our faces. This mirror has a very flat and a very smooth surface made up of glass. This glass is applied with a shiny polish on one side. That part of the mirror is always towards the wall. And therefore this side of the mirror becomes reflecting and shiny. Now a ray of light coming from an object, say, strikes the mirror at this particular point. In 8th standard you have already learned that this becomes the incident ray and this point is the point of incidence. We also know that a perpendicular drawn to the surface at the point of incidence is called the normal. Now once it hits the surface of the mirror, it would bounce back. This ray is now called the reflected ray. The angle between the incident ray and the normal, I repeat, angle between the incident ray and the normal, generally symbolized by something like this, which is known as theta. You have learnt it in your trigonometry classes, and with a subscript as I. Theta I, or the angle of incidence. Remember, surface does not find a place in the definition of either angle of incidence or angle of reflection. It is always the angle between the incident ray and the normal, or the normal and the reflected ray, which is this angle and is called theta subscript r. So we have angle of incidence theta I, angle of reflection theta r, and the law says that both the angles are always equal. That is, in a plane mirror, the angle of incidence is always equal to the angle of reflection. Now this may be true for plane mirror, but is it true for the board, or my body, or for any other object in the room? Yes. The same law is applicable everywhere there is a reflection. So if there is a reflection of light, theta I will always be equal to theta r. Then what is the difference between a plane mirror and this board? Let us understand that. We take a smooth surface, polish it on one side, the other side becomes shiny. Now let us make a few rays incident to this surface. see in the diagram, all the three rays are parallel to each other. They will follow the angle, the law of reflection. And here you will see that the reflected rays are also parallel to each other. Such a reflection is called regular reflection. What about the surface of the board? The surface of the board is not smooth. Now let us make parallel rays incident onto it. As you can see, the normal will be something like this, and therefore the reflected ray will go in this direction. Here the normal will be something like this, and therefore the reflected ray will go in that direction. And here the normal will be something like this, and therefore the reflected ray will go in that direction. As it is clear from the diagram, the reflected rays in this particular case are not parallel to each other. Generally, we call it irregular reflection. However, we can also call it diffused reflection, and it is because of the diffused reflection that we can see various objects around us. Just imagine if all surfaces were doing regular reflection. Then when you look at me, you will be looking into a mirror and you will see only your own reflection. And when I look at you, I too will be looking into a mirror and I will find my own reflection. So when we meet on the road, we will not be able to recognize each other because everybody will be showing me my own reflection. And to you, everybody will be showing you your own reflection. Therefore, let us thank God we have diffused reflection by way of which we are able to see various objects around us. And it is also because of this diffused reflection that we can read what is written on the page of our books. Whether it be regular reflection or irregular reflection, both will invariably follow the law of reflection, which says angle of incidence is always equal to the angle of reflection. Now from this we can derive many things. Let us understand what we can derive from this simple law that says theta I is equal to theta R. Again we go to our previous diagram. Polished on one side, the incident ray, the normal, the angle of incidence, the reflected ray, and the angle of reflection, and the law theta I equals theta R, angle of incidence equal to the angle of reflection. Now what do we understand from this diagram? If you look at the diagram a little more closely, you will find that the incident ray, the normal and the reflected ray all are in air, nothing inside the glass, and therefore we can easily say that during reflection the incident ray, the normal and the reflected ray are in the same medium. I repeat, the incident ray, the normal and the reflected ray are in the same medium. I would like you to again concentrate on the diagram, and you will find that nothing comes out of the board, nothing goes into the board, they are all on the board. And a board represents a plane. Then we can say that the incident ray, the normal and the reflected ray all are on the same plane. The angle of incidence, the incident ray, the normal and the reflected ray are on the same plane. Again, when you look at the diagram, you will find that the incident ray and the reflected ray are on opposite sides of the normal. So the incident ray and the reflected ray are on opposite sides of the normal. So even when we have only one real law of reflection, which is angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection, we can derive many more by saying the incident ray, the normal and the reflected ray are in the same medium. The incident ray, the normal and the reflected ray are on the same plane. The incident ray and the reflected ray are on opposite sides of the normal. So what should be your routine answer? Your routine answer will depend upon the weightage the question carries. If it is a 1 mark question, write down angle of incidence is always equal to the angle of reflection. Mathematically, theta I is equal to theta R. Enough. If it carries 2 marks, you can add a point. Incident ray, normal and reflected ray are in the same medium. 3 marks and you have to write everything. Incident ray, normal, reflected ray in the same medium, incident ray, normal and the reflected ray on the same plane, the reflected ray and the incident ray are opposite sides of the normal, along with angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection. So you will have to write according to the weightage of the question. We move on. Let us have a plane mirror. And we have an object. One ray from the object will hit the mirror at an angle and will follow the law of reflection and make an equal angle of reflection and bounce back in this particular manner. One more ray would hit the mirror surface perpendicular. Now when it hits perpendicular, obviously it will make 0 degree angle with the normal, and therefore the reflection angle will also be 0 degrees and will return on the same path. So where will the image be formed? As we can see, none of the reflected rays are crossing each other's path. Mathematically we say they do not intersect each other, and hence we extend them backward. And we will get an image here. Because the backward extension appears to meet at a point behind the mirror, the image will be formed there. Now such images where the reflected rays do not actually intersect each other but appear to intersect when we extend them backward are called virtual images. It is our common experience that when we stand on our feet and approach a mirror, even the reflection stands on its feet, and therefore the image is erect as well. However, if we try to shake hands with the image, we will not be able to do so. Why? Because whenever we raise our right hand, the image will be raising its left hand. When we write E and show it to the mirror will read it as I don't know what to call it. Which means that the image is laterally inverted and is also of the same size. This may be considered as the object distance and is usually denoted by u, and this is considered to be the image distance, usually symbolized by v, and in a plane mirror the object distance is always equal to the image distance. The type of image: virtual, erect, laterally inverted. Size of the image: same size as the object. How far? The image is as far behind the mirror as the object is in front of it. Object distance is always equal to the image distance. So we end here today. We'll continue in the next period.